Greetings, primitives of YouTube. I am Q. I have decided in my benevolence to share my thoughts about the Star Wars movie called The Last Jedi. What is that, you say? Q appeared in Star Trek. How can you review a Star Wars movie? What your puny minds fail to realize is my power is not limited to any one particular universe. Plus, I enjoy a day at the cinema as much as anyone. But before I give you my thoughts, I will say I am disappointed, though not surprised, at the rabid attacks in fandom right now. Some love the movie, some hate it, and everyone is pointing fingers and saying, "You're stupid for liking this," or "You aren't a true fan," or "How can you not love it?" For a species that, for the most part, seems to value freedom of speech and self-determination, you get really nasty when someone puts down something you love, or loves something you hate. Here's a lesson from the continuum that maybe you mortals might understand. If you like something, someone else doesn't need to like it too. And if you hate it, someone else can love it. And it harms you not one bit to just say, "I respect your opinion, have a nice day. Try it sometime." And for those whining that this movie should be retracted and removed from the Star Wars canon, quit whining. It's not going to happen. We were all heartbroken when the expanded universe was shunted aside and characters like Admiral Thrawn and Mara Jade were swept away. If you don't like the new movie universe, go read those again. But this is not your universe. Watch it, hate it if you must, but those in the Disney continuum aren't going to pull a Dallas ending and tell you Episode 8 was just a dream. Deal with it. Now, as you may imagine, there will be spoilers in this video, so if you wish to avoid them, stop watching, get to the theater, watch the movie, then come back and finish this up. No further warnings will be given. My thoughts on the movie. I enjoyed it. It was fun to watch. Was it perfect? Not even close, but I still had a good time watching. Let me hit a few points here. Poe Dameron, hot-headed fighter pilot. Maybe you thought Leia was wrong to punish him after he ignored orders and continued the assault on the Dreadnought? Or maybe there's a reason he's now only a commander and Leia is still a general? Yes, the Poe boy managed to destroy a Dreadnought, though he lost a lot of pilots and all the bombers doing it. And if you run the numbers, the First Order lost a lot more people than the Resistance did. But they destroyed a Dreadnought. One. Which implies there are more. And while the First Order lost more people and equipment, they could easily absorb those losses. The Resistance, not so much. Throughout this film, Poe thought he knew better than his superiors. No military discipline. Sometimes you just shut up and follow orders, especially when you can't see the full picture. Some didn't like the comedy. Luke just tossing the lightsaber away, Luke ignoring Rey going fishing, drinking milk. Was it blue or green? Not sure. It reminded me a bit of Yoda, when Luke first arrived on Dagobah. But beyond that, everyone is saying how Luke, Jedi Master, didn't act like a master. Well, duh. Who made him a master? Did a council of his peers elevate him? He learned a little bit from Obi-Wan and had what? A couple weeks with Yoda to learn everything? I'm being generous because they don't actually show how long it was. And maybe the Empire was chasing the Falcon for weeks. Maybe they were hiding in the cave that wasn't a cave for a long time. But regardless, the only reason Luke is Master Skywalker is because he's the last one. Sure, he found some books, but he's a flawed human, like all of you. He screwed up dealing with Ben Solo and shut himself off, decided to take himself out of the game instead of owning up to his error and dealing with it. Rey may have found him, but he was still lost. It wasn't until the end that he found himself again, with some help from Yoda. So lots of people are upset that Rey's parents turned out to be nobodies, that she wasn't part of the Skywalker line or a long-lost niece of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Considering how you humans seem to be moving away from concepts like royal blood and superior genes, this is a foolish gripe. So Rey came from humble roots. That means you don't have to be someone's descendant to be strong with the Force. This means anyone could be a Jedi. Yes, her parents' identities turned out to be a red herring, but it also promotes equal opportunity. You don't have to be a Skywalker or from Krypton or a Greek god to be a hero. You can be anyone. The secret mission that Finn and Rose went on, that was pretty pointless. Maybe if they approached Vice Admiral Holt respectfully and gave her the plan, she could have told them her plan and they could have avoided a bunch of useless traveling. It really didn't affect the outcome of the story at all. And while missions do fail, as theirs did, if it was a sanctioned mission, at least it would have shown a good effort, instead of being pure stupidity. Sure, there were parts I thought were overdone. The battle between Finn and Phasma with the "Hey!" He was showboating. And yes, Phasma was underutilized again. But there are so many characters in this movie, and giving all of them meaningful story arcs would have doubled the runtime. But I did see a major flaw, which the whole story hinged upon. The stupid race where the Resistance was barely keeping ahead of the First Order ships. This was to give us a sense of menace and a countdown to when the Resistance would be doomed. Because they were running out of fuel and could be tracked through hyperspace. But those Star Destroyers weren't running on fumes. One or two of them could have jumped elsewhere, then jumped in front of the Resistance fleet. Or they could have just called up some other Star Destroyers and had them do it. Or maybe send some TIE fighters. You might say the TIE fighters couldn't catch them, but the shuttles from the Resistance ships that ran out of fuel and were blown up, well, they caught up to the main cruiser very easily. Lots of possibilities, but no, let's just fly behind them until they run out of fuel and give them plenty of time to come up with a plan to escape or make it more costly for us to destroy them. The First Order is done. At least the way the writers set it up. Don't they have anyone who looks over the scripts and pokes holes in these plot points? And if they insisted on the chase, why not have the Resistance fly into a nebula? And someone could say, right, you can't go into hyperspace from a nebula because it would overload the generators or something like that. An easy fix, and no one thought of it. Yes, there were also some throwbacks to, say, Return of the Jedi with Kylo bringing Rey before Snoke, but it did work out differently, and Kylo is now the supreme ruler. So much for the First Order. Palpatine, now, he was a senator, and very familiar with the workings of government when he became Emperor. Snoke's background is not explained. We're still waiting, but I imagine he had some idea about governing. I think we know what happens when you put someone in charge with no idea how to govern. If they have a good bureaucracy, things can coast for a while, but with Kylo in charge, things are going to fall apart. Oh, Admiral Holdo took way too long to figure out she should ram Snoke's ship than she should have. In actuality, by the time she decided to do it, all those transports would have been dust. Bad pacing or editing or something like that. Now the battle between Luke and Kylo, that was epic. And there was a thought that perhaps he died when all those AT-ATs blasted him and Kylo was facing a really good Force ghost. But Luke was using a force power that was only revealed in the expanded universe novels. It was disappointing that the strain of it was too much for him. Not happy with that part. I kept expecting something to happen where Leia sacrificed herself due to the sad passing of Carrie Fisher. I really hope they can use some footage already in their possession in the next film, since giving her an off-screen death would be a shame. Though using CGI wouldn't be all that much better. We shall have to wait and see. So, my primitive viewers, I enjoyed the movie despite its flaws. I suspended my disbelief. This is not my favorite Star Wars film. It is also not the worst. It had some great parts. It had some scratch-your-head moments. But it was fun. If you didn't think so, then that's fine. If you love it, that's fine too. I would be interested in reading the comments from you lesser intellects telling me other things you felt were wrong with the film, or were right with the film, or present a reasonable argument that might contradict my view. Disagreement is welcome. Name-calling is not. So start typing below and do that subscribe thing. Click that thumbs up and I'll see you out there.